Hello again. I can't believe it. We've reached the last chapter of the Tales of Percy Peacock. Chapter 6, Life in Worcester. Percy had been in Worcester now for 3 years. He'd become a very popular and loved mascot in that time, and he always featured heavily in the programme and in the events during Worcester Festival in August. He would go out 2 or 3 times a day during the festival with a couple of stewards. Percy thought of them as his bodyguards. Wander around the High Street and Crown Gate and spend quite a lot of time cuddling children and posing for photos. In addition, his image was everywhere. There was a competition to find his photo in shop windows. He was the subject for various colouring competitions. He appeared on countless videos, leading the various bands and also dancing to the music. That was his absolute favourite. Any opportunity he got to dance, he danced. He loved it. He sometimes danced when there wasn't actually an opportunity, which was occasionally a bit embarrassing, but nobody seemed to mind too much. Percy sometimes looked slightly wistfully at the statue of Sir Edward Elgar at the top of the High Street. He wondered if he'd ever have a statue dedicated to him. Probably not, he said to himself, but you never know, Percy, my boy. As well as being very popular, it should also be said that Percy was a bit of a mystery to the people of Worcester. He was always there during the festival, but then he disappeared for the rest of the year. Where does he go? People asked. Where does he live? Some people said he lived at Queen Elizabeth House, the home of the festival. But he didn't. Now then, can you keep a secret? Really? You see, I know where Percy goes when he's not in the festival. Yeah, I do. But if I tell you, you must keep it a secret. Like many superstars, Percy likes his privacy. You promise? Okay. When he's not on duty for the festival, Percy lives on Diglis Island, in the middle of the River Severn. Don't you know where that is? Well, I'll tell you. If you walk along the riverbank from the cathedral towards Diglis, you come to a big wooden swan. Keep walking, and after a short while you come to where the river divides. It divides because it has to go round Diglis Island. The island is very quiet and private, as people are not normally allowed on it. Percy loves it there. Why? Well, there are lots of places to hide, and people very rarely spot him there. He loves to sign autographs and pose for photos during the festival, but not on the island. He's off duty and at home. Another reason he loves it so much is that he has so much company. Not peacocks, but here is a list of some of his friends. Harry the Heron is a regular visitor, sometimes with his girlfriend, Henrietta. Colin the Cormorant often calls in, occasionally with his wife, Cathy. Kevin the Kingfisher lives on the island and spends a lot of time sitting with Percy. He often shares small pieces of fish with him, which Percy likes very much. Bernie the Buzzard occasionally drops in, but he makes Percy a bit nervous with those big claws. Probably his best friend is a robin. Guess what his name is? Yes, Robin. Yeah, I know. His parents didn't show much imagination, did they? And there were some other friends, non-bird friends. Henry the Hedgehog often turns up, although it has to be said that Percy finds him a bit prickly. There are some very friendly rabbits and several frogs, although Percy always feels a bit jumpy when they're around. Sammy the Slowham is not exactly a friend, but he slithers past occasionally and gives a friendly wiggle of his tail. Willie the Weasel and Stephen the Stoat both call in occasionally. Percy can hardly tell which is which, but Kevin helpfully told him that you can weaselly tell them apart and that they are totally different. Percy loves Diglis Island. Loads of food, lots of friends, plenty of opportunity for the odd adventure. Yes, the odd adventure. Percy has never quite lost that sense of mischief, which has led him into trouble on quite a few occasions. Only last week, he'd watched a few canal barges go through the locks and thought how exciting it all looked. He decided that he would hitch a lift some of the way to Worcester, just to experience going through a couple of the locks himself. There was a barge in the lock now, He just had to wait a few minutes. He waited until the barge was rising in the water and just near the top of the lock, and stepped unnoticed onto the back. As they pulled away from Diglis Island, he turned round and gave a little wave to anyone who might be watching. This was the life, the open sea, well, river, the wind in your feathers, the sense of freedom. Percy was having fun, lord of all he surveyed. They passed one or two boats going in the other direction, and Percy waved enthusiastically to the people on them, who all waved back. He was just relaxing and thinking how happy he was, when a slightly worrying thought began to enter his head and made him uneasy. He knew that between Diglis Island and Worcester there were 2 or 3 locks. They'd been going some time, and no locks. He thought about this for a bit. He couldn't see the cathedral, or indeed anything he recognised. Eventually, he reached the conclusion that you probably did before Percy. He was going the wrong way. Percy thought for a bit longer, which was always a bit of a struggle for him. That wasn't very clever, was it, Percy, my boy? He said to himself. Even he noticed that he did say that to himself quite a bit. Ah, well, he thought, we can't all be geniuses. As he sailed along, he began to cheer up. The sun was shining, there was a very pleasant breeze on his face. He was sure he could get back to Worcester, wherever he finished up, and he was having another adventure. What could be better? He sat back and relaxed. And there, I'm afraid, we must leave him for the time being. There will be more tales of Percy Peacock soon, and we shall enjoy bringing them to you. Let's all give Percy a wave as he sails the wrong way down the river. Bye-bye for now, Percy. Bye-bye.